A day in the life of a NICU respiratory therapist. I know what you're thinking right now. This is not the hospital. This is not NICU. But I can't really record in the hospital. I don't feel comfortable anymore. I like my job. I like where I'm at. And therefore, I don't want to get in trouble, especially with HIPAA and all that other good stuff. Plus, really, I don't have time and I can't really explain a whole lot because sometimes I'm sitting down for 10 minutes at a time or 5 minutes at a time, and when I'm sitting down, I'm charting, I'm doing stuff like that. So, therefore, I'm doing it from home. I've not posted a respiratory therapy video in forever. It's not my gig or my thing anymore when it comes to online stuff. But anyway, I just want to share this with you. Hope you enjoy the video. So, I am currently day shift. I work from 6:30 to 7 at night. That 30-minute gap is like my lunch. So when I get to work, I go straight to the NICU. I get my report from the night shift therapist. And then what I do is I will start rounds almost immediately. So I work in a NICU where it's 34 beds. We take babies as low as 22 weeks is what I've had. So I know you have no idea what a jet or an oscillator may be. However, we have babies on the vent or on the jets, on the oscillators. We have babies that are on vents. We have all kinds of babies. Now, I work in a level 3 NICU, which is not the most critical NICU. So therefore, I do not deal with any babies that have trachs or anything like that. However, babies that are pretty sick or that need some kind of large amount of support, I do deal with them. Sometimes I will have all the way up to 22 babies. Sometimes I'll have like 10 babies. It all depends on how busy the NICU is. So once I get a report, I'll do a little sweep around the NICU. I'll grab my meds. I'll kind of see what's going on for the day. I'll talk to the nurses. I'll let them know what's going on. If we have enough RTs to do certain things, if there are any C-sections going on that day, because as a respiratory therapist, I will go to certain C-sections. Now, I don't go to every C-section, only the high-risk ones. I will also look at the board, and I will see how many mothers are going to be or are in labor. That way, I can be prepared. And on this board, it shows how many moms are in labor. And on this board, it shows if any of the mothers or the babies have any issues, how many weeks the babies are. And it just kind of gives me an idea as if I need to prepare myself for going to a lot of deliveries that day or not going to a lot of deliveries that day. I will also go on transports as a respiratory therapist in the NICU. This is not every NICU, this is just my NICU. When being a transport respiratory therapist, this is when we will go pick up a baby from another hospital and we will bring it to our hospital, or we'll pick up that baby, bring them to a different hospital, or we may ship a baby out from our hospital to a different hospital just so we'll have more room, because our NICU is very active, so we have a lot of babies coming in and leaving. Sometimes we're full, sometimes we need room for new babies, and therefore this is why we make room for the new babies. So we have a baby that is not very critical, but they still need the NICU. We will send them to a different hospital where they have a little bit of a different NICU, so it's not as critical, but the baby still has some care that it may need, all that other good stuff. Baby's still going to be taken care of super well, but it doesn't need the amount of care that we can provide, because there's a baby that is 23 weeks downstairs in labor and delivery, and they may be coming, so that baby needs a whole lot more care than a baby who is 36 weeks and just there for feeding and growing. So my day just started and I already have a lot that I can potentially expect to go on. So I may have to go to a lot of deliveries, I may have to go on a transport, and I haven't even touched my babies yet. And sometimes, like I said, I have 22 babies and I may have 6 or 7 vents. Some of them may be on a jet, some of them may be on the oscillator, which is a certain kind of vent. But if a baby is on these vents, they are a little bit more critical. So therefore, I will do my first rounds. I'll check on all the babies, make sure everything's good, see if they need any kind of assistance at all. If I need to make any changes, I'll do that. And then after I check on all my babies, give them medications, I will go and get blood gases or capillary gases, whatever the case may be. I'll help the nurses do this. So for a lot of our babies, we do 2-person cares. So this means that 2 nurses, or a nurse and RT, a nurse and physician. There needs to be 2 people touching the babies that are critical. I'll help out with that a little bit. And then after that, I go to our safety meeting or safety huddle. We'll talk about what's going on in the PICU, the NICU, what's going on in labor delivery. We'll just kind of get a sense of everything and what's going on. After that, we go ahead and do our physician rounds. So we will go around to all the babies' rooms. We'll talk about them, talk about the plan for the day, talk to the mom and dad, and just kind of share everything. As soon as that's up, I need to start my second rounds. I'll go back, check on all the babies, do my vent checks, bubble CPAP checks, all that good stuff. Just kind of document everything about what's going on with the baby, if we made any changes, if we need to do anything. And while I'm doing my rounds, I'll also help the nurses with anything they may need help with. Throughout my rounds, or personally, or with the physicians, any of this time, they could call me for a mother going into labor or a C-section and say, hey, Austin, we need you down here stat. So therefore I gotta leave, drop what I'm doing, as long as I'm not doing something critical, and go see that baby. Or throughout this time, they may say, hey, we have a transport. So therefore I gotta call my supervisor and say, hey, they wanna go on a transport, can you come cover me for a little bit? And therefore, I can have a lot going on in one day, and this is just above doing my normal checks. So round 2, I finish my checks, and then generally I'll eat lunch and I'll have some time to check my charting, just kind of do what I need to in the respiratory department or up in our NICU room. So therefore I'll get everything prepared, kind of make sure I have everything that I need, or I may just kind of relax for a little bit if the day is slow. Whatever the case may be, I have this little bit of time, hopefully, as long as nothing crazy is happening. But after that, I will start my third round, generally around 3 o'clock. Once again, check on all the babies, help all the babies, help the nurses, do whatever they need to. And then we may get gases on babies again, depending on how often we're getting gases. And then I will go ahead and leave at 7 o'clock. And that's pretty much my day. I know this is kind of boring, just me kind of rambling, but that's my day throughout the NICU, is just vent checks, checking on babies, helping the nurses, going to deliveries, maybe going on transports. Now, working in the NICU is super different than working in the adult world. It's just, I don't know how to describe different, but it's a lot more, I don't want to say calmer, but it's different. Let's just say that. I enjoy it a lot more. I like working with the babies rather than adults, and babies, they're different than adults. And honestly, I think if you are a new grad or somebody going into respiratory, I think that you should strongly go work with babies for a little bit. Even if it's a tiny hospital and you just are in there periodically, get your feet wet, learn about the babies a little bit, because you may like it. I wasn't really involved with babies till I was 4 years into my career, and then I started working in the NICU, started learning more, and really enjoyed it, really like it. And honestly, if I could do just that, I probably would. If you have any questions or anything, let me know. I did apply for a transport respiratory therapist job where that would be strictly my job. Go in the ambulances, fly in the helicopter, do all that cool stuff. But right now that is kind of on pause. We're not really doing that. But yeah. Anyway, like I said, if you have any questions or anything, let me know. Happy to help you. Anyway, keep doing what you're doing. Be 1%.